Hey guys, we are back. I am back on a flight. It's a bit hectic. I hope it's not too noisy in the background, but we're gonna get away with what we can. Umehen. So again, we're talking about Shara Bitachon, right? This book, where we are discussing. We spoke about how basically this book discusses the concept of confidence or ultimate confidence in God. That's what this book deals with. It's part of a greater book written by Rabbi Ibn Pekuda. The book is called The Duty of the Heart, Chovat Al-Vavot. And we spoke about the virtue of confidence in God and how there's certain fallacies that come with having confidence in other things, like our wealth, like our skill sets and capabilities. And we also gave an example of how a person who has ultimate confidence in God, right, is similar to an alchemist, right, which is a persona that could has a skill set of taking copper and eventually turning into gold. And then we spoke and we said that the person who has confidence in God has 10 advantages over the alchemist. And we started speaking last time. We finished off with saying, okay, so we said what? Now we're talking about how someone who has confidence in God behaves. How is it reflected, or the advantages that are actually reflected in a pragmatic way? And so we will continue. A person who has confidence in God, no matter how wealthy he gets, his wealth, his financial success won't interfere with his confidence in God. Because why? Because that person doesn't have confidence in his wealth. Just like it came, it could go. So that person knows that he might have a false feeling, thought of security. But because he has ultimate confidence in God, he knows that he's not secure, even when he has $1 billion in his bank account. הוא בעניין לפיקדון, כפיקדון צובה להשתמש בו על פנים מיוחדים ובעניינים מיוחדים לזמן קצוב. And that wealth that person has, he recognized, is only a deposit that he is commanded or obligated to use it for special purposes and for a time period, meaning that wealth, that abundance that God gave you is part of your responsibility in this world to do other things. So it's not that you just have the $1 billion in your bank account, and if you don't act on doing what you're supposed to do, you'll end up losing your money. And so, regardless, because God gave it to you for specific purposes, once you're not fulfilling that purpose, right, it's God. So a person knows, who has ultimate confidence in God, he recognizes that even though he has $1 billion in the bank account, doesn't mean anything. More so, it means something, and he has a responsibility. ואם יתמיד קיומו אצלו לא יבעט בעבורו ולא יזכיר טובתו למי שצווה לתת לו ממנו ולא יבקש עליו גמול הודאה בשבח, אבל הוא מודה לבוראו יתברך אשר שמהו סיבה לטובות. And so a person, if the wealth is preserved for him at a long time, right, he won't just yv'at b'avoru, it's kind of like regard it in disregard it as it's an obvious, right? And he won't go if he ends up giving charity or doing whatever. He won't go around saying, "Hey, remember I gave you charity?" And he won't request to get any kind of social benefits, respect because of his money. He won't be looking after that because he knows that he's just fulfilling a purpose. But he has gratitude to God. The person who has confidence in God has gratitude to God that God endowed him with the responsibility or with the privilege to do good to other people. And if he loses his wealth, a person shouldn't be concerned or worried, and he shouldn't regret that the wealth is lacking. But he has gratitude to God that God relieved him of this responsibility and took away the deposit that he gave him to be in charge of allocating. כאשר הודה בנתינתו לו וישמח לחלקו ואיננו מבקש הזק זולתו. So he has gratitude and he thanks God for him giving him that opportunity. וישמח לחלקו, he should be happy and content with what he has. ואיננו מבקש hazek zulato, and he's not looking to avenge or harm someone else who maybe got the money. And he shouldn't become envy of people who do have wealth. So it says that a person is satisfied or eats in satisfactory from his soul and not from the physicality. The benefit of confidence in this world, when a person truly has confidence in something, right? His heart is quiet. You have you're calm, right? From all the worldly concerns, and you're eternally peaceful from the different challenges of the soul, or menidnud nefesh is from movements of the soul. וצערה לחסרון תאוותיה הגופיות. וצערה לחסרון תאוותיה הגופיות. And the sadness or the hardship that comes from the lacking ability of the benefits of the body. Which benefits of the body can mean a lot of things. Food, it can mean sex, it can mean the different bodily needs or yearns, like physical ones. And that person who has that ultimate confidence lives in security and serenity in this world. Blessed is the person who has confidence in God, and God is his confidant. And there's an example of a tree that sits above a river, right above a very good source of water, and he sends out his roots, and he has very strong roots. So a person has confidence in God is always strong. And what's he strong? To weather all the different challenges that life come. There's a lot of wind. There's a lot of different elements, right, that trees are prone to. And so a tree that sits next to a source of water and has strong roots will survive anything. And of those benefits of the person who has ultimate security in God, or ultimate has security, he's calm in his soul. He doesn't mind the long journeys that it sometimes takes in this world. And that the long journey is something that has a toll on the body, and takes time and takes a lot of and expedites the time of our life, meaning our concept of time. And there's a story about a person who went to faraway land to ask for his needs, right? His teref is like his hunting, his game, the game that he was hunting, meaning he went to look for his for a job or wealth. And he met an idol worshiper told him that person, how are you so lacking in your understanding that you're worshiping idols? So he says, and what do you worship? Ask the idol worshiper, what do you worship? So in Judaism and in the monolithic religions, we believe there's one source of power to the entire world, and it's God, just one source of power. And so in ideology, the other perspective of it is that there are many different sources of power, and every idol represents another source of power in this world, right? That is a big conflict between Judaism or monolithic religions and the idol worshippers. And so he said, who is your God? And he says that one God that gives that created the whole world that is capable of doing anything, that also gives wealth and sustenance. And there's no one like him. So it told him, the idol worshiper said, if so, you really believe that your God, the one God, has really the ability to give you all your financial needs? Of course, how am I conflicting this by being here? He said, if you really believe what you said, that God will sustain you and gives you sustenance, and that's all, he would have given you your sustenance exactly where you were. You didn't have to come all the way here. And you wouldn't have come to such a long distance. And the person really understood that he was wrong, that he was told off. And since then he hasn't, and that person recognized the truth in what he said, what the idol worshiper said, and he stayed in his thing, and he ended up sustaining himself. That is for now. Peace out.